Hello, here is Dr. Marie Lefebvre, project facilitator for the Breaking the Silence Initiative 2019-2022. In this presentation, I will introduce what's next for the successful outreach program engaging with South Asian communities in Leicester. The project was funded through the tampon tax on the co-partnership between Comic Relief and the Department of Culture, Media and Sport. We've been very, very lucky to be awarded a continuation grant funding in March 2022 to extend the project to December 2022. Now that we came to the end of the project, it's very significant to share with partners and supporters, as well as a beneficiary, what's next on what we plan to continue engaging with South Asian communities in Leicester and beyond. So in this presentation, I will go through the aim and objective of the project, what we've done during our continuation funding period, the latest figures on feedback, the key learnings in relation to the project, what's next, how can you get involved, introduce some credits to all our partners and supporters on reference and resources. So the aim of the project was to measure the effectiveness of a community-based approach to raise awareness about the trauma of shadow sexual abuse and the value of counseling in South Asian communities living in Leicester. There were a number of objectives and deliverables as part of the project. One of them was to set up a web-based self-help guide for South Asian female survivors, specifically those who are not yet ready to start counseling, so they could, understand better some of the common issues and then gain the confidence to seek further support. So we developed a new website, a self-help guide, an awareness raising strategy that allowed us to recruit new volunteers, to introduce new roles such as the volunteer community connectors, and engage further with groups and partners in and around the city. We delivered counseling sessions to female survivors to address the impact of abuse, and we invited them to write testimonies and letters and answer to some of our questionnaires on evaluation. With their letters in particular, we were able to develop stories of change, which were a number of videos where volunteers read their letters, and then we developed resources to raise awareness further. The third objective was to adopt new methods, evaluation, and learning approaches, really to increase Quetzal learning and reflection processes, as well as facilitate sharing of knowledge with partners across Leicester, Leicestershire, and beyond. So we worked with evaluators. One of them supported us in developing the baseline to deliver a baseline evaluation report to allow us to understand where we are. In 2021, we delivered a key learning webinar, what we've learned so far, implementing a community-based approach on engaging with various communities. You can watch the video in more details. You can watch the videos on YouTube, and we go really over what is an asset-based community development approach, how we define what is the South Asian community from that particular perspective, our process on how implementing this approach impacted on the number of referrals we received between 2019 and June 2021. In March 2022, we launched our evaluation report, and we had also a webinar. This was done by Becky Nixon from Ideas to Impact. In the presentation, also on YouTube that you can watch, we introduce some of our latest work on outputs, on latest stats up to March 2022. And we say a big thank you to Comic Relief for awarding us a continuation funding grant, as well as introduce new videos. And Becky Nixon expands specifically on the evaluation report, on the findings that she gathered, answering some of the evaluation questions that were set out. So yes, so all this is really to support learning for Quetzal, but also for our supporters and partners wanting to implement a community development approach in sexual violence services. So what have we done during our continuation funding period? We continued engaging with communities. We had, for example, we collaborated, for example, with Climate Action Leicestershire to deliver the Big Green Swap, which welcomed 600 people in St. Matthew's library. It was a wonderful event. We also collaborated with artists such as Kush Kali, Leicester-based visual artist, and Diviki Patel, Leicester-based writer, as well as yoga practitioner. Some of our beneficiaries delivered fundraising events, and we also supported our partners with their own celebration and work with students as well to deliver some initiative and raise further awareness about Quetzal on our wonderful work. We translated the self-help in Gujarati and shared it at the Davis Cultural Festival Mela. The guide is on our website for free to download, and we also got printed copy if you wanted to request some. We continue delivering online awareness raising session for individuals and communities. This is a 1 hour presentation really going through the impact of childhood sexual abuse on adult survivors. So if you wanted us to deliver it, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we process, throughout the year, referrals, delivered assessments, emotional support calls, counseling sessions, and single session therapy to South Asian beneficiaries. So what about our latest figures on feedback? So in total, since initiating the project, we had 147 referrals, which is in average about 37 referrals per year, is 4 to 5 times more referral per year than before the project. And you can really see, how we've been able, through the systematic approach of raising of awareness and engaging with community and collecting stories on mapping out assets and gifts, we've been able to increase the number of referral from that particular community. And this really is not only the South Asian community, is really across Quetzal. In 2020, 2021, when we launched the new website and really worked heavily on our social media communication, on engaging with various communities through that mean, it was in the midst of the pandemic, we actually the same level of referral as of the year before, 261 referral. In 2021, 2022, we had a 63% increase to 426. We are projecting this year to achieve about 414 referral. On this, we need to share with you that actually in the last year, our capacity in terms of communication with the support of volunteers, especially through social media, has reduced. So let's see what will happen when we strengthen our communication capacity in the year moving forward. Let's see how this will impact on our referral number as well. But yes, we had to respond to that demand, and this demanded an increase in capacity. And these are some of the numbers. At the beginning of the project and now, we went from 13 to 65 volunteer counselors and placement students. We introduced new volunteer roles, so the volunteer community connector role is brand new. Emotional support volunteer as well is a new role that we introduced during the pandemic to provide support to female survivors waiting to start counseling. And now that the number, our waiting list has increased as well, this role is quite significant. Yes, increase the number of staff. And we also invited social worker placement students to join along, and the number of trustees have also increased. So some of the outcomes for South Asian beneficiaries, looking at some of the response that we received in the last year from that particular cohort, 80% improved their clinical score, 60% of respondents to our social outcome felt that they had a greater understanding of themselves, 83% felt better able to manage their mental health issues. All respondents identifying themselves as South Asian agree or strongly agree that they would recommend Quetzal to others. Here are some comments. I invite you to pause the video and read them throughout. But here is one comment that I particularly like. The support I received has allowed me to find me. I was lost and confused, and now I love myself more. I've made lots of progress and I've changed. Yes, this is what we want to hear when they're making the brave step to engage with Quetzal and really look at the impacts of shadow sexual abuse in their lives, on how do they change, and how do they change as a result of this interaction with their counselor. And it's wonderful to hear that that it created for them some beautiful change that will support them further in their lives. So some of the key learning: we met our objective, our aim objective, and successfully demonstrated the effectiveness of community-based approach. It is effective, it is very rewarding, and it does demand continuously it does demand capacity and continuously increasing that capacity. The more time we spend, collecting stories, engaging with people, mapping out our connection, assets and gifts, the better. So really in the first year of the project is what we've done a lot of work, mapping out assets and understanding what's going on in the community prior to developing a strategy in raising awareness further. Our website is a key resource, a key asset to collect, to share the stories of the work that we do in communities, and then volunteers and our partners and supporters are able to disseminate those information through word of mouth and online as well. Having a core group to map out the communities is most appropriate. So working with the volunteers to map out the different communities we can engage with, so we can, over time, really self-mobilize, mobilize different individuals in working with us on project. And yeah, every time we had an event or we ended a project or initiative, we kind of took the time to really update our map of assets and resources and connection. So we could put further. So yeah, so these are some of the learning that we experience using the asset-based community development approach. So some key factors supporting the project, Becky Nixon expand further into that. Yes, having some experience when it comes to asset-based community development really supported us. Having a designated counselor as part of the project, especially in the second year of the project, helped us to understand better the needs of beneficiaries. We've been able to involve volunteers from various backgrounds on different parts of the community. A project like the Breaking the Silence initiative really support the promotion of equality, diversity, and inclusion, and attract volunteers from different backgrounds. As part of prior to the project, Quetzal was not engaging as much with beneficiaries, but during this project, we've been able to engage really with survivors of shadow sexual abuse and understand their aspiration for change even better. So this has been wonderful. When I say change, not only for themselves, but also for their communities. They really want that more people are aware of mental health issues and trauma and ways to address it. So yes, through the project, we've been able to build trust. And we cannot dismiss one of Quetzal's main strengths, which is it's specialized on high quality content provision. On our network of partners recognize the value of our provision. On this through the various testimonies shared by our beneficiary that we publish through our website on social media platforms as well. So yeah, this is the main strength of Quetzal, and is really a key factor in the success of the project. Obviously, we've been systematic in developing collaboration with partners to deliver activities on communicating our efforts. And during the project, we also implemented a new data insight infrastructure, Lamplight, and this gives us greater understanding of the needs of our beneficiaries as well. Some key factors during the project. Well, really at the beginning of the project, we had little contact with communities in Leicester, so we had to do a lot of cold calls or knocking on doors or finding out what was going on in different areas of Leicester. We understood that we needed more capacity, so we introduced the new volunteer community connector role. There is strong difficulty to talk about shadow sexual abuse in that particular community. We weren't delivering counseling in various languages, so this kind of created some type of barrier. So yes, as a result of that, we had to reduce some of our initial targets, recruit volunteer community connectors as well. We also identify, while at the beginning of the project, we wanted to deliver counseling in various communities. We understood that for our beneficiaries, they prefer to actually have counseling within our building. So we had to make some few changes down then. And obviously we had COVID-19, so we had to really review the ways we reach communities using more online resources as opposed to going to community, especially during the COVID-19 period, but this changed afterwards. So other factor, during the project, the more we engage with communities, the more we engage with communities, the more we increase our capacity, the more referral we receive. This is putting, some pressure on us, especially some pressure on us, especially when it comes to systematically communicate internally and externally about what we do, but also better manage our volunteers. So all this needs to be further strengthened so our community remain engaged in our activities and can reach new groups. So yes, I believe that we could have done even better if we had this already in place. But it's something that we are really keen to work on in our next phase. So what's next? So we need to say a big thank you to the National Lottery for awarding us with a 3-year grant funding to Quetzal. And this is going to support us to deliver counseling and outreach for survivors of shadow sexual abuse. With the funding, Quetzal will consolidate its operation to meet increasing demands and better manage our increased capacity with the support of a volunteer manager and a new communication officer. We will be able to continue to apply our learning that we gathered through the Breaking the Silence initiative, as well as from all the outreach program developed in the last 3 years. 3 years. So yes, we have a number of outreach programs that we've been able to develop, geographically engaging with various communities in Leicestershire, such as Northwest Leicestershire, kind of Colville area, Charnwood, Melton, Arborough, but also engaging with specific community, Crush the Hush, engaging with 16 to 24-year-old who will not be silent, engaging with African, Caribbean communities, engaging with LGBTQ plus shadow sexual abuse survivors, as well as engaging with beneficiaries through the peer support group project funded by the OPCC, beneficiaries who want to become peer support facilitator as well. So yes, through this funding, we'll be able to do more work, applying our learning and engaging with various communities. So yes, so how can you get involved and support Quetzal? You can deliver an activity or session at Quetzal. So if you have an activity that would benefit our beneficiaries, including informative session related to health and well-being, job and careers, therapeutic activities, art and craft, performing arts, writing workshop, sport and yoga, and you have funding to cover your expenses, please contact Quetzal and let's see how we can host you. If you have no funding, we invite you to check Leicestershire funding or the Art Council as well. If you have things in place, then we can even collaborate more easily with you. We also invite you to, you can also invite us to deliver an awareness raising session or have a stall at your event. So do not hesitate to email volunteers@quetzal.org.uk. Fundraise and donate by organizing an event. Also, through your purchase on Amazon, you can go on Smile www.amazon.co.uk and select us as a charity. We also got some authors, selling their books and donating to Quetzal. And you can also visit our justgiving.com page. You can volunteer with Quetzal. We've got several roles that are open for you to have a look at. Share our resources, our self-help guides in English and Gujarati, as well as our videos. We invite you to sign up to our newsletter and follow us on social media. And then, signpost or refer someone with their consent by visiting our website. So yes, so these are different ways you can get involved with Quetzal. And we want to thank you for listening to this short video. Send us an email on help@quetzal.org if you get any further question. And do not hesitate within the comment section of YouTube to ask further questions, and I'm sure someone will respond to you. You can also go to our website, the Breaking the Silence Initiative page, and there will be this video as well as other video that we've got, and you'll be able to download the presentation and have access to the different resources that we've developed. We need to provide some credit to all the supporters of the Breaking the Silence initiatives, especially the survivors and beneficiaries. We want to thank them for taking the steps towards their recovery and inspiring others in their community to believe that healing is possible. Quetzal staff, the volunteer community connectors, our counselors, the board of trustees, the grant managers that work with us as part of Comic Relief, the evaluators for the project, the graphic designers we work with, video producers, and website developers and translators. So yeah, we want to thank you all in supporting Quetzal as part of this project, as well as the community and partner organization. We've got a number of resources produced through the Breaking the Silence initiative that we invite you to look at. Yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best.